And now our exclusive interview with the tri-state George Clooney. He's one of the most photographed men in the world and one of the most grounded people you ever meet. I met George Clooney in New York and never had so many women begging to go along. But behind those good looks is a man who's smart and funny, a man who's never forgotten what's important and where he came from.
Your sweet expression.
I was lucky enough to get famous later in my life.
He's a hometown boy who grew up on the edge of the spotlight, a boy born into an entertainment family.
Rosemary was a great eye-opener.
A boy who watched his dad become a local broadcast legend.
My father was very successful and has been very famous.
5 years from now, they'll go up to my dad and say, "Aren't you George Clooney's father?"
Would you like to swing on a star?
From his famous father's son to one of the biggest names in show business, George Clooney has kept his feet firmly on the ground and his heart in Cincinnati.
I've been around people who handle it very well.
On the 19th floor of New York's Regency Hotel, George Clooney is talking to us.
Kentucky and Cincinnati, Ohio, is where I grew up and where I was raised and where I learned the things that I learned that I use every day in my life.
He's hours away from the premiere of his new movie, Syriana, a movie about politics, terrorism, and the oil industry.
This is a fight to the death.
But on this day, George's mind is on another drama, unfolding 600 miles away at Paul Brown Stadium. How much of a connection do you feel to Cincinnati these days?
A big one, you know. By the way, Bengals 7-2. Today's the day, though. This is the big one, isn't it?
Colts.
Yeah, I worry. I was on the Roseanne show the last time the Bengals were 7-2, so it's been a long time.
I'm waiting for George Clooney.
Down on the street, New York Post photographer Arnaldo Magnani has discovered Clooney's limo. And this paparazzi is waiting patiently, like a lion hunting for gazelle. What are you looking for with George?
Taking a nice photo, a sparkling photo.
I was almost killed.
In his latest movie, Syriana, Clooney plays an aging CIA agent.
We really screwed up at work.
He put on 30 pounds for the role and says he ate everything in sight.
I'd eat that chair right now.
For those looking to blame someone, director Stephen Gaghan is the man who made George pack on those pounds. You have the skinny Clooney and you have the heavy Clooney. Which is a better actor?
I think of late, I'm very partial to Heavy George. Like, he's got this Spencer Tracy vibe from like the 50s or something that I just love.
Love seems to be a universal word when women sit down with George Clooney.
Do you believe in love?
Yes, sure, of course.
So maybe I'm the one.
Ask George to focus on himself and you'll get an earful of self-effacing humor. You're a fairly normal guy.
Fairly normal, you know. I mean, for, you know, former sexiest man alive, you know. That hurt, you know, that hurt this year. Matthew McConaughey, that hurt.
You think it was because of the whole weight gain thing?
I think Matthew ran a very good campaign.
Down on Park Avenue, no smiles from paparazzi Arnaldo Magnani. It's an all-business waiting game.
40 years.
You've been doing this 40 years?
Yeah.
Chasing stars for 40 years?
Yeah.
What is George like to deal with?
George is a good man. He's okay.
How does he treat you?
Very good. 70% good.
70% good?
Yeah.
So you've seen...
But if he's in a bad mood, you know, he keeps going.
Time is a rare commodity for Clooney these days. He's a self-proclaimed workaholic with 2 big movies in 2 months. Syriana and Good Night and Good Luck, a movie about journalist Edward R. Murrow, a film George directed after years with his dad in a TV newsroom.
This thing was always, you know, always contest and challenge power, no matter who's in charge.
The thing that I see always is the core integrity that was there from the beginning and has not changed.
I also see a very kind man, a man who is extremely thoughtful. He also is not a patsy.
Down on the street, another paparazzi has joined the hunt, and a crowd is beginning to form.
How long ago did he walk in?
Oh, hours ago.
Did he look like he looks normally?
Yeah.
Was he by himself?
He was. Why are you
I'm
interested?
just curious what he looked like first. And there's Al Gore.
Even when former Vice President Al Gore walks into the hotel, he can't command the kind of attention reserved for the Crown Prince of Hollywood.
Having now become famous and meeting famous people, my understanding of what fame was or what a famous person is always very different than the reality of them. Usually they're actually fairly normal people who happen to be in a business that's really abnormal, you know, in a lot of ways.
And brother one said to brother two, we're polar opposites, me and you.
Clooney's attempt at stardom didn't start with those pilot TV shows. It began on the baseball field when he tried out for his hometown Reds.
2 years in a row. I only lacked skill. Was the only thing that kept me from being a professional baseball player. I had, you know, proper outfit and a glove.
Back down on Park Avenue, paparazzi Arnaldo Magnani has developed a masterful plan to get George to stop for a photo. He's trying to convince a group of New York City cops to pose for a photo. Magnani knows it's a request that George can't turn down. Getting George with them, that'll definitely get you a place in the photo.
That's a great photo with George with the police.
The only thing to me worse than a bunch of sort of callous people doing some pretty unscrupulous things with a camera would be in some way trying to censor them, because to me, I think that's a very dangerous step.
Seconds after stepping outside the front door of his hotel, Clooney takes the bait.
Hey, George, can we have a shot with the police? Yeah, George, the police. Italy is going to love it. Side up. Back up. Okay. In the middle, George. Thank you. Side up, guys. Side up. Around, back up. Big smiles, everybody.
And within hours, that photo goes to entertainment shows and tabloids worldwide.
But George was more than safe last night, surrounded by New York's finest.
As Clooney walks to his SUV limo, an autograph for the woman who waited to see George in person, and a message for the folks in his hometown. George, can you say hi to Cincinnati?
Yeah, say hi to all the gang, huh?
All right. Thanks, man.
Hi, see you.
And with that, like a leading Hollywood actor, George Clooney rides off into the sunset, leaving behind a trail of trembling fans and broken hearts.
You could be swinging on a star.
I think that we're probably a little more normal than people think.
And our thanks to George and his family. This has been a tough year for them. George continues to struggle with severe pain after a spinal injury on the set of Syriana, the sudden death of his sister Ada's husband, and Nick Clooney's unsuccessful run for Congress. Through it all, this family remains resilient, happy, and hopeful.